Hello from Kent, England. Today I'm out again to go and see an old castle, the ruins of an old castle. So the castle we are going to see today is called the Eynsford Castle, and this is what we are going to see. So it's quite an old castle. Let's go and check it out. The bridge that I'm walking on right now would have been the drawbridge into the castle in those days. So this is one of the oldest castles or oldest remains of one of the oldest castles. The reason for that is this castle had been built after the Norman conquest. For those of you who don't know about the Norman conquest, 1066 is an important year in the history of England. That is because until then there was Anglo-Saxon rule in England, but in 1066 a Norman invader called William came from France and conquered England, and the Anglo-Saxon rule ended there. So that happened in 1066. So William is known as William the Conqueror because he conquered England. And apparently this castle was built by a Norman after that conquest. So actually at the entrance here there is an information board. Let's go and check it out. There it is. So the entrance that I came through, this has always been the main entrance to the castle. The medieval visitor would have walked across a timber drawbridge like the one that we walked across right now, and obviously this would have been the moat. I don't know whether it was filled with water or not at the time, but obviously this is quite old. I think this was built in let's see whether it says yeah, it says it was built around 1100, so it is pretty old. Obviously at the time having a moat like that and having it filled with water would have been enough to guard the castle. And apparently before this castle was built there had been an Anglo-Saxon castle, if you can call that a castle, here, but obviously most of the Anglo-Saxon fortifications were not built with stones. They were mostly built with timber. Apparently after the conquest the Normans built this castle on top of or in the same site where the previous Anglo-Saxon castle used to be, probably as a symbol of their power to show that they have now conquered. So this is how the castle looks like today, or the ruins of the castle look like today. So as you can see, there's not a lot left, but this would have been one of the great halls. Actually, let's go and check that board again to see see the surroundings, so we can figure out what is what. So this is the drawbridge that I came through, or the bridge. It's not really a drawbridge now. And so the well, my favorite place in any castle. So that is where the hole would have been. Actually the ruins that you see there was actually the main hole, and that's the moat that we saw. So here it says, ahead are the ruins of the hall and its fore building. Eynsford Castle is unusual because it did not have a keep or great tower. So yeah, I don't see the ruins of any tower. It could have been, obviously, even if there was a tower, it could have been ruined, but according to that, it probably didn't have a tower. So let's go and check out these ruins. A great kitchen. It's not that great though. I mean, it's by castle standards, I think it's not that big. So this was the main kitchen for the castle from about 1150 to 1175 and remained in use until the castle was abandoned in 1312. And that's the countryside. Another interesting thing is when I came to this castle, it reminded me of a poem that I learned at school. I think it was written by Charles Cosley. It's about a castle with a ghost. The poem is called Colonel Fasically. It says Colonel Fasically, Butterworth Toast, bought a castle complete with a ghost, but someone or other forgot to declare to Colonel Fassick that the spectre was there. That's how the poem starts, and it goes on. I can't remember the rest of the poem, but the reason I remember that was some time ago, quite recently actually, somebody had come into the castle just to walk around here, just like what I'm doing right now, and they had taken a photograph. I think they had taken it from down there of the steps that lead up to the great kitchen. And if you Google Eynsford Castle ghost, you would see the photo. Apparently there is a figure standing there wearing like a cloak. It's like, it looks like a monk wearing a cloak. And the guy who took the photo swears that there was no one else when he took the photo. So apparently people say that it's a ghost that is around this castle. The person who or the Norman who owned this castle first, I think he was called William Eynsford. Apparently he went on to become a monk after he left the castle. So you never know. Google it. You will find out. It happened quite recently. So this is the Great Hall. Or the hall. The building was constructed in the 11th century, late 11th to early 12th century actually, on the site of an earlier, possibly Saxon structure. So actually you have two main halls here, one here and one on the other side, and these four buildings they've been added to the main halls later on. That is what it says here on this board. So actually let's go down to here and check it out. And they also had a well here. Actually, yeah, this is the one. This is the well they used to use. Actually, now it is full of plastic bottles and garbage. But yeah, this is where they used to have the well. Right, let's go and check out the other hole that is on the other side, which is bigger than this. So these holes were actually used as storage. They were the cellars, and on top of that they had the living quarters, and then underneath these were used as so this area, these were used as cellars to obviously store food and stuff. Obviously they didn't have refrigerators at the time. So this undercroft or cellar was used for storage. A spiral staircase connected the undercroft to the hall above. So what would have been that staircase? I don't know whether it was here or probably that over there. Let's go through that. Actually, before we go there, let's have another look at this main hall. I mean, you can see the outer wall there, how tall that is, and probably even these walls were really high those days. Obviously, for them to have a cellar here, the cellar should have been tall enough, and then obviously on top of that, the living quarters should have been tall enough for people to live as well. So this structure would have been a pretty tall structure even at that time. And then this was probably the entrance to the cellar. So yeah, it was a spiral staircase, and this is what is left of that now. And well, you can go up here. I'm not gonna climb these walls because obviously if people keep climbing those, it's gonna damage them. One thing when you come to a historical site like this to keep in mind is not to walk on these walls, because obviously a lot of people come to visit these, and the more people walk on these walls or these ruins, the more they get damaged. So as you can see, so this is where I came from. I went all the way in, and apparently this bit, these outer holes were added later on, and this is what is left of them today. These are actually quite wide and thick walls. I mean, look at the size of that. Those days, with bows and arrows, breaking into something like this would have been nearly impossible. This is what we saw earlier, and the well was over there. There it is. And right, see what we can see. Let's go over there and see what we can see outside. So the moat goes all the way around. I wonder what those are. Those holes are actually in some places. I've seen that those cavities in the wall were used to make another floor. So you would put wooden planks in those cavities, and then build another floor on top of that. That goes all the way out to the moat. Don't know what that was. So that's again that looks into someone's back garden now in the 21st century, but millennia ago it was probably just forest or overlooked the moat. So apparently these three openings here were probably either guardrobes where security guards stayed, or they would have been used as toilets, especially this one, which actually opens into the moat. Well, I don't know whether I want to live in a castle where the toilets actually go straight into the moat and things float around all around the castle. I don't know how that was, but they suspect that is what these were used for, either a guardrobe or as a toilet, that one. And also another thing I found out was next to the kitchen is the main well of this castle. So we saw a small well inside the cellar, but so that's the main kitchen, the great kitchen, and then next to that is what used to be the main well of this castle. You go. Let me see. I know that you can't see anything, neither can I. Actually, it's pretty dry. I can't even see how deep that is. Right, so let's go around this main hall. Wow, what is around here? Right, so this would have been another room or something, and the new kitchen. The kitchen probably served the private apartments in the whole building. It was built as part of the repairs following the fire damage to the hall in the early 13th century. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. This castle was actually damaged by fire, and then it was rebuilt, and obviously then later on it fell into disrepair, and finally this was given as a and this was used as a stable and a kennel to breed racing dogs. It was, I think, in the late 18th century or early 19th century that this was then taken back and was preserved as a castle. I think we have seen pretty much everything to see on this site. Just let's go and have a look at the size of the how wide these outer walls are. I mean, I told you that some of those inner walls, how wide they are. I mean, look at these. Look how wide they are. Wow. I mean, with just bows and arrows, there's no way you can get through these walls, or you can blast these walls, unless you obviously had something like a catapult. Wow. So it's really impressive. So now obviously there's no water in the moat anymore. So along these main outer wall also you can see some cavities in the wall. So there you go. So as you can see, they are all over all the way along the wall. So they were probably used to hold some wooden planks, I guess. Again, I could be making up a lot of things in this video, so just don't don't take everything or take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Actually, not just a pinch, probably like a spoonful of salt. Yeah. Right, I think that is it. So we've seen another castle, the ruins of another castle. As I said, England is littered with these historical places. I enjoy visiting them. Hopefully you learned something new as well, and enjoyed exploring these ruins with me. And until we meet next time, bye for now. Take care.